Welcome! Today's video is gonna be very special because it is the first one that was actually requested from a fellow artist who supported me from the very beginning, and I'm really excited to draw Amaterasu from Okami today. Alright then, let's get to it! So, we're going to start with the head and therefore again with a circle. And it's a very simple looking head. We draw it from the front and we look from an upper perspective down on this one. So she's looking down a little bit. And we draw the snout. This is the line for the eyes. And we also add some ears, just very simple triangular shapes. Okay, so to start with the body, we at first draw the chest, and for that we simply draw this oval shape here, which should not be too wide, something like that. Alright, and what I'm planning is I want to draw her kind of a mid-air position while she's jumping or currently landing, and she is kind of turning around mid-air, and therefore let's draw the spine now. The spine is curved to the right, and at the end we draw the hip with these two oval shapes too, and they are pointing to the back side. I don't draw them too long because of the perspective. They would be a little bit longer normally, but from this angle they look very circle-like, like so. And let's continue with the skeleton structure. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, you can watch my roof tutorial where I explain it in detail how to draw that. We start with the shoulders here, and just make it very simple and quickly. So as I mentioned before, she's kind of mid-air, so she stretches out her front legs like this, and so yeah, the paws, and the other leg is a little bit more to the back, like so, a little bit angled like this. Okay, and the back legs, here we're going to start with the hip or our shoulders, and they are a little bit more stretched out. They go like this to the back. So yeah, you don't have to be very exact about the anatomy and the exact measures and the proportions, because the official artwork is actually very inaccurate in these kind of manners, and it's not very exact. Like I've seen in some paintings that the head is smaller or bigger, or the body is longer or shorter, and here at the ankles I've seen that there is some kind of second ankle for the back legs, which kind of looks weird. But yeah, well, in this one I just draw one ankle, okay? Don't worry. So yeah, but you don't have to be very exact, and you can be very free with it. As long as it looks good, it's totally fine. So the tail, I'm also gonna add that, and the tail is a little bit longer than normally for a wolf. Alright, so this would be the very basic skeletal structure that I'm going to do, and we lower the opacity now and switch to the second step of the sketch, the second phase, and I'm going to add a little bit more detail. The face here is a very wide face. The nose is pretty small and very simple like this. and I'm not adding too much more detail to the face now. The eyes are very slender, very thin, and they have just this very simple shape to them. They also don't have any additional details. You don't see the pupils or anything. They are just these very slender little lines. That's basically it. Let's quickly draw the ears a little bit here and there. Okay. And on the head, she normally has some kind of markings. We start at first with the circle here on the forehead, and at the front and at the back some spikes, some long spikes are stretching out. And also around the eyes there are some markings, like a very long and flat line above the eye, and then it curves around it, like so. And these markings are all gonna be in red later. This is the basic sketch that I'm going to do for the head now. Let's continue with the leg. We started first very broad, very wide, and then it thins out like so. And at the joints kinda do this kind of, how to say it, like bulges. You know what I mean. And so I'm going to do this like that. And like in my wolf tutorial, I also draw here the paws with these very simple 4 oval shapes. Line it just together. It's, I think, a little bit too wide, so I'm going to make it a little bit narrower, like so. Add a little bit detail. The claws too, and wolves normally have on the inner side of the front legs these dew claws here. And again, in the official artwork, there is sometimes this dew claw to see and sometimes not, but I will definitely add it and be a little bit more accurate about that. Okay, so I'm going to draw the other legs, and while I'm doing that, well, let me explain something about the game. So, Okami, the game Okami was developed by the Clover Studio and published by Capcom. And I think Clover Studio doesn't exist anymore, or I don't know. And it was released for the PlayStation 2 and Wii, and later on there was a remake for the PS3. And well, it is one of my favorite games. It has a strong action roleplay aspect to it. It's also a little bit inspired by Zelda games, in my opinion. And what I especially love about it is that it has a lot of Japanese touches to it, and I'm going to explain what kind of Japanese aspects are to find in this game. So, like here, I'm also adding the dew claw, and yeah, let's continue on. Now, let's make it a little bit broader actually. I have now the body here, and the body is very long and slender. So I'll just curve it around until we get to the hip, and then I just make a very thin waist here. Very slender, like abnormally slender. I don't think that wolves, normally nourished wolves, are that thin, but it's just the art style. And kind of makes her look even more elegant in some way, you could say. And for the back legs, we kind of follow these ovals here and here too, until we get to this joint here and then we curve it and make this tip, and then it stretches out like so, and it gets thinner. And again, for the paw, I'm going to draw these ovals here, and this time we see the bottom side of it, and therefore also the paw pads. Draw them with even smaller ovals on top of it, and also this middle paw pad is visible. And the back legs, back paws don't have additional features like the dew claw onto it, just the 4 basic toes, the claws. And yeah, Okami has a lot of traditional folklores and legends of the Shinto religion in its game, and if you know these kind of stories, then you will recognize a lot of them within the game, and it's really cool actually. I really love it, and I recognized a lot of from the Shinto religion, some figures, but also child stories and other things like that. And another thing is the graphical style is very inspired by the traditional art form sumi-e, the ink painting, the Japanese or Chinese ink painting. And to tell you a little bit about that, it's a very focused and calm way of painting. You have a long brush, and you are very focused, as I told you before, and very slow normally, and you just paint with a very few strokes. Very minimalistic art style it is, and so every single stroke counts, and you don't have that much room for errors, as to say. You cannot really paint over it if you make mistakes. That's what I'm saying. So it's not that easy actually, even if it may look easy. And I tried it for some years, but I'm not really good at it, to be honest. And well, I still chose to do it here digitally instead of doing on paper and the brush and stuff. Also logistically it's easier for me. Alright, and now I'm adding the kind of decorations. Now this is the basic wool form, as to say, and it's, well, Amaterasu is a very magical creature, as to say, and so it has some features that are not normal, like these whirlies here on the tail, and on the tail you normally have 2 of them. Also, if you draw these whirlies, be careful to not make them too symmetrical. Like here, they should not be right next to each other and not exactly the same size. Be free with your style and just be a little bit chaotic actually. As long as it still looks good, it's totally fine. We also have these whirlies on the shoulders, and for that I'm going to at first draw this kind of basic shape here, like a big flame, a very broad base, and then it thins out at the top, like so, and curve it a little bit more, like so. Alright, let's erase that, and within we have these 3 or 2 whirlies. Here at the front we have 3. Like so. Again, be a little bit chaotic about the size. And on the other side, let's draw the shape at first. A little bit smaller this time, because it's the back side. And just 2 whirlies that are coming out at the side here. like so. Alright. So, and also what I'm also adding is her weapon, which is a kind of a disc. It actually is a mirror, and I'm going to soon explain to you what's actually about it. So for the disc we just draw a very simple circle. Because of the perspective it's more of an oval. Of course it has some thickness to it too. Let's erase these lines. And then we add 3 concentric circles with N, well, on top of it. 1, 2, 3. And again, the artwork, the official artwork, was not very exact about that, and so this disc looked very different from picture to picture, and so yeah, I cannot really tell you exactly how you're supposed to draw it. What I normally do is for the markings and the decoration, I just draw these very simple lines in the inner and the outer circle, and in the middle some round lines that are grouped together like this, very random, whatever. You don't have to be very exact about that, it's just to add a little bit more detail to it, but it's not that important. Excuse me. So, let's also draw the other markings on her body. She has this kind of whirl here again, which extends over her body, and we can see it a little bit right here. And it also has an additional line in front of it, a curve here, like so. And here also the rolly. And then when it extends over the body, it also has a very short line at the end of it. But we're not going to see that, because we will add a little bit of fire around the disc, and it comes from the bottom of the disc normally. And to draw these flames, what you do is you draw in a very wavy kind of way, like so, and then you go back and you make this kind of fork shape at the end of it. And it's very hard for me to explain how exactly you are painting that. Well, what you should be careful about is that you don't be too... Well, these lines here should not be parallel. Like, you have some parts that are thinner and thicker, and it's very random, very chaotic again. Like so. And yeah, I cannot really tell you that much more about that actually. It's very hard for me to explain, but well, you see how it looks like. Oh, sorry, my hand is sweaty again. It's hot in this kind of attire, but well, I'm doing it for the art. So, to tell you a little bit about her weapon, this mirror, well, at first I need to tell you a little bit about herself, about Amaterasu. Well, the full name of Amaterasu would be Amaterasu ŌKAMI. So it's not exactly Okami, but you have a mi, which is an honorific prefix in the Japanese language. But when you write it, you can also omit the mi. You still pronounce it ŌKAMI, even if you don't actually write mi. However, if you would be literally reading it, then it would be Amaterasu ŌKAMI. And ŌKAMI also means wolf with a different kanji. And well, there you have it. This kind of connection, why she is presented as a wolf. And as far as I know, originally in the legend, she doesn't really have anything to do with wolves. You can of course correct me about that. It would be very interesting to me. But yeah, as far as I know, she is just in a normal human form. And that's pretty much it. And well, the mirror is an item that she possesses in the legend. And it's one of the sacred imperial regalia. There are two other items, the kusanagi. Well, at first this mirror is called Yata no Kagami, which means 8-span mirror. Then there is the kusanagi, a sword. Well, it means grass mowing sword. And the third one is the Yasakani no Magatama, which means the grand jewel. And yeah, these items, nobody actually really knows where they are, and even if they exist, or if they are just some replica or something like that, because the only people that are actually allowed to see them is the emperor himself and some high priests during the enthronement ceremony, and that's basically it. And as far as I know, they are of course not really allowed to talk about them. And so yeah, nobody really knows about these items. And yeah, this is basically all that I can tell you about these items in real life. They are also present in the game as different weapons that also Amaterasu can use. Some bead weapon and a sword, pretty normal sword, and it's also really cool, I think. So yeah, also yeah, if you draw the flames here, you also add here and there some little flyaway flames here and there to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I quickly finish the flames and get back to you. Alright, so as I mentioned before, the style is very much of the traditional ink painting, and you work with the pressure and you vary it as you do the stroke. At first you start with a very, very low pressure, and then we vary it as we go around the curves. For these flames here, there is actually no specific rule about how to use the pressure. You just do it very random and however it looks good. Just important is that you are not doing it just in a very boring, monotonous way, or just go completely crazy. This is not how it's supposed to look like. To show you a little bit something else, let's take for example this here. I vary the pressure as I go around the curves, and what you also add is here and there some short lines, especially on the fur parts. You have these kind of lines here, especially about like in the face. You have these, and also on like this part here normally has these short lines, and also some other borders, the end of some lines or transitions, like on the chest or the belly. Well, in this painting you cannot really see it, but if you compare the official artworks, you will be able to see that. Normally, like very often, we start at first with very low pressure and then increase it, and as we get to the end, we again take the pressure away. But sometimes we at first start with a little bit more pressure and then release it, and it varies. It depends on where we start. Like if the line is in very free, then normally it just starts very thin and then it goes thicker, like so. But if, for example, it starts right here, then you can also do it a little bit thicker, like so. Be careful that you don't draw the lines too straight, but add a little bit of curvature to it, like so. And yeah, these are all the tips that I can give you, and I'm going to fast forward until I'm done, and I will also add some colors and shadows and all, very much in the style of the original artworks. And when I'm done, I get back to you. Alright. Alright, we are done. This is the sun goddess Amaterasu. While doing the research for this, I noticed that I really missed doing art in this kind of style, and I want to do more. Yeah, it's very special to me, I love it. And maybe you love it too. It's kinda hot here, not just because of this yukata, but also, well, it's summer and all the studio lights and everything is running. Well, anyway, I really hope you liked it, and well, if somebody else has a request from me, I always say it, please let me know in the comment section. I really love doing that, if it's something that I love to draw, of course, but this certainly was something like that. And it took a little bit longer. It actually was months ago that I got this request, but I had to do the preparations. This was the reason why I did the move tutorials, all of this stuff, so I am able to get good enough and know all the basic stuff about moves, so I can draw Amaterasu in a decent way. And yeah, and there will be more moves, more special moves, and I hope you will like them too. And yeah, depending on how difficult the request of yours is and how far away it is from my from the stuff that I already know how to draw, it can vary when I will release this tutorial. It could be, if it's something simple, that it will be released very soon. On the other hand, this was a little bit more work, a little bit more research, a lot more research, and so it took a while. But yeah, just feel free to request of me whatever you want. I cannot guarantee that I will do it, but well, we can try. Alright, thank you very much for watching. And as always, if you have any questions, feedback or requests for me, then please let me know in the comment section. Alright then, have fun drawing!